Aloha all, this is my 35th podcast. Oh my goodness, I did not record last week. There was a lot going on. I've been working more and a little preoccupied, and to be honest, I got a little overwhelmed between politics and this coronavirus, so I decided to do my podcast today on the coronavirus, and I want to explain kind of how I got to that. Well, for one, I've been filling in teaching at a school here in Austin for a couple weeks, and being around all the students, they're like constantly on their phone last week, and it's like, okay, Costco's out of toilet paper, and the parents are writing them, and everything's happening, and there's all this fear, and so I'm reading these articles, and I start reading all these articles and things, in between them being afraid and not knowing, and different things, I start reading more and more and more. And by Friday, I was so overwhelmed myself that I had to take my own advice and do a online detox to get away from it because it was way too much. So now, on a regular basis, so I've been in this industry of the healing arts and mind and health and counseling and all these things for so many years that so many decades, I should say, and on a daily basis I'm always looking for articles that have something to do with how to improve brain function, or how to detoxify the body or the mind, how to strengthen the body, skin imbalances, relationship issues, sleep disorders, anxiety, depression, suicides. It just goes on and on. Communication, intimacy skills. So all that excites me and interests me. So of course this has been big, just seeing how the public is responding with fear and various things, and then me seeing myself that I got a little overwhelmed. So feeling that I was off balance, a couple things happened. Not only was I aware that I have created a life that I pretty much can, I primarily work from my home. I do booking.com and stuff, hosting guests, and I also have my workshops here, and I do online counseling and clients and online trainings and various things, but most of it is my own timing. I have my daily schedule, and even with working full time, I get up 2 hours early just so I could still meditate and do some exercises to get my heart rate increase, and to do some journaling and do my French before I go into work. So there is no excuse. And then after work, even though I'm not an afternoon gym person, I've been going to the gym after working all day. But it's good. I'm doing it. Anyway, so I come home Friday. I'm so overwhelmed and so off. And my friend was over and commented that he wasn't used to seeing me that way. And before he showed up, I did some meditation. I had just worked out hard at the gym, so that's usually one of my go-to things to help shift me, and like I couldn't get through it, and so then I just started sharing it with him, and that helped some. And then he actually had his ukulele and was playing and singing, and I found by like the second song that I was smiling and happy, and it balanced me. So if you're around music or someone or want to sing, that's another life self-care tool. So use it, because it does bring spontaneous joy, and that was wonderful. But it was interesting for me to see, with compassion. I am not deluded, trust me. I've interacted with the public for so many years when I had my schools and my spas and all that in Maui. And even here, it's only in the last year that I've worked out of my home, and I'm doing private clients and things. So I've had more of my own time. But to see, this is how the average collective consciousness lives, right? So you guys kind of live in this overstimulation of social media and information coming at you like in seconds, as well as hearing everyone's opinion, and it can create a sense of fear in many things. I mean, the politics alone was enough going through Super Tuesday, let alone adding the whole world is getting affected by this. And so then I started understanding, okay, wait a minute, now I'm really pretty relentless and disciplined at how I care for myself on a regular basis, and it's what I teach, and it's what I believe in. So, and any of you that are listeners of mine, you'd know my two primary workshops that I teach, and both of them are coming up at the end of this month. The first one is the Be a Relationship Architect, which is for singles or couples, and it's high process oriented, highly informative. You're going to get so much self-reflection, and that is going to be with David Garrison, who is also an exceptional life coach, and that is March 21st and 22nd in South Austin from 10 to 5, and that includes a healthy lunch and a contract you're going to fill out to like just be informative and something to take with you could refer back to, and you're going to get a lot of awareness skills and like ideas of communication and intimacy and all of that, if you're in a relationship or not. And you could do it with a partner. Also, we do have an early bird special right now. It's normally $300 a person if you do this by the 15th. I do know that we have some spots left. It's $220 a person or two people for $400. But back to this story. So, seeing that the typical person in their day-to-day overstimulation, that they create these mechanisms so they can adjust to life, so they could just like do work and do school and do what they have to do to keep like trudging on. And this is why I understand why people overeat, or they eat fast foods or garbage foods or what they call comfort foods, because they're trying to have some sense of safety, or they drink too much, or on their phones nonstop so that they don't have a moment to think. And this is how our culture in the West is created. This is a way to adapt, and it's a shame. It's like it makes me want to spread my knowledge more to more people to help them, because the more I go through my work, I tell you my experiences, and so I had this deep compassion because I found I was eating well throughout the week, but I was eating every couple of hours because, like, okay, is it nerves? Is it something to do? Is it wanting to get through this? And I was like falling into that mainstream. And then by Friday, it was too much, and I haven't felt that off in a long time. Anyways, so I did the tools I knew. I tried my best and saw, okay, this is a glimpse. Now what am I going to do? So when I committed to doing that online streaming detox where I blocked out for 2 days and did not read one thing about the coronavirus because I was saturated and it was creating more fear and overwhelm, and I knew, stop. So then on Monday, I started again, and it was interesting because I felt recharged again. I felt balanced, and coming to continue my information and my intake and starting to read more, I had a whole different approach where I saw that instead of my fear that was saying, what if with this coronavirus, like what if it spreads through the U.S. or wherever you're listening from and listening to, it was more of a incorporating my spiritual practice and choosing to accept what is. And I went to when this occurs, not what if. And I even shared this with my daughter and my son. I was saying, listen, we don't know what's happening right now. But there have been many viruses and many plagues throughout centuries and various things. I'm not calling this a plague, but it's intense. And that, like, there was a time when the measles came through and killed many people because they didn't know about vaccines and they didn't know about preventative or any of that stuff. And so this is similar to that. This is a new virus that we're not aware of. So I say to have tools and be in preparation to gain your authority and strength. I'm not saying go to Costco and Walmart and buy out all the soap and the toilet paper, because that's causing a hysteria. But I am saying to prepare, to have enough food, that are non-perishable, and water and medicines if you need it for fevers or something like that, for the next 2 to 4 weeks for your family, just in case this comes through and you get it. I told my daughter, I hope it comes through quick. We get it, we recover, we move on, because then we'll be immune to many things, even future things that will come out there. You're going to be stronger than ever. Now, mind you, if we look at this in terms of an intense flu, a virus, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, it basically attacks the body, and if you have an unhealthy or a weak body, there are serious consequences that are fatal. We have seen deaths from this. Now, we're not looking at in reference to, like I was telling my students and my daughter and all, I want you to Google how many recoveries there are. I want you to Google the amount of people that are coming down with this in reference to how many are dying. So they're not giving us all the statistics about everyone who's dying, but from the, I can't even begin to tell you how many articles I've read. So it tends to be elderly, but that doesn't mean just because you're over 60 you're going to die. There could be younger people that could pass if their body is weakened, if their immune system's compromised, if they have, they're saying if they have heart issues, if they have lung or breathing issues, if they have diabetes, even weakens your ability to heal quickly, and pregnant women, they're warning against that. I mean, your child will actually be immune to this once it's born, but sometimes when you're pregnant, it takes a toll on the body. So be aware of that. So those are what's in play here. So if you have any of those issues, do not have any gatherings or interact with people unless you know 100% that in their daily life they have not come into contact with someone who came into contact, you know, like 5 removed, because this could be very, you know, high consequences. But so some of the things I want to share with you. So now this, we found this out where it started in China, and we started hearing about this around mid-January. Now, we heard about it, so the plus of our social media life is that we hear about things quicker from all over the world, where this wasn't the time when I was growing up. We didn't have internet and stuff. So we don't know. China probably lagged in preparing for their people, and then it just hit them like a, you know, like a tsunami, right? It just came out of nowhere. So by around January 21st is when we started hearing about it from them, and it probably was in December. They're saying that it started back in December, but the government was in denial, as our government has been doing some of that same thing, playing it down. Oh, no big deal, no big deal. It is a big deal. So I believe that there's no way to hold this off, that it's just going to come through. So to prepare for it, and in preparing for it, that is going to be that you are going to strengthen your body. So you're going to eliminate, and here's my talk, because you know I'm into detox and cleanses, you're going to eliminate any unnecessary sugars, alcohol, dairy, processed foods. Just take that out of your body right now. And stress, if there's someone that stresses you out and you get into arguments or it makes your stomach tight, just say, I don't have time for this right now, because just having a disagreement where you have to defend yourself or get angry causes an acidic response in the body, which there are so many scientific studies showing how you will see your immune function lessens, and you need to be as strong as possible for now when this comes through, so that it's just an intense flu and then it passes and you recover, you and your family. So this is what we're hoping for, the best case scenario. So now, do not procrastinate, do not be in fear, and do not be in denial. Be informed. So, unfortunately, each area of the globe is getting hit, and without awareness, it will cause more infections faster. with a higher rate of casualties. So now Italy is closed down a lot, Germany, France, Switzerland, the UK, Spain, Iran, Asia, and yes, the USA. Now, as of today, March 11th, there are 1,015 cases that are tested positive in the US with 31 deaths. So now, that's the only ones that have gone into the doctors and been tested for this, right? So this is what you have to know. There are people out there that don't have insurance, or they have fear of getting a label. It's like a label. Is this person a leper? Do they have it? And then they'll be quarantined with no pay, or fear that everyone will like ostracize them, or like a lot of people don't know how to handle this, and all of that is not the right thought process. The right thought process is to get through the fear, go to the doctor if you have these symptoms, and I'll talk about those later in this podcast, and just be responsible, because I don't want you around exposing yourself or coughing or sneezing on someone that is elderly, that does have an immune compromised system, or that is fragile, or already has lung issues. Like, be responsible, because it's highly contagious. So I've read some articles saying like the homeless community. So here's a big possibility of spreading infection. And Austin has that law for that, like, yeah, bring all the homeless here. I'm not saying to get rid of them. I wished, instead of saying let them come here, that they actually did affordable housing for them, instead of saying here's a green light that all the homeless come to Austin, because we're already starting to see so many negative effects, and whoever decided that did not think that out. But back to that, these people have no health care. And again, if they're elderly and they're in a weakened state because they're, living outside and their food is minimal, then that's going to create that. If that goes through that community, it's like, yes, you're like giving them a dollar bill on the side of the road, and just that little bit of communication, like all those things. These are things to think about if you have a compromised immune system. Or if you have, or if you have any of these issues, lung, breathing issues, challenges, or any of those, or risks of pneumonia. So now, the other thing about this is just older people. That's not true. Children and younger people, all ages are getting this again, but they're kind of like going through it, and then they're recovering if they don't have any other issues happening. It also, I'm going to tell you this, which I would if I wasn't doing this podcast, that if you vape or smoke, now is a good time to quit. I've heard that this affects males more than females. Nobody knows why. And males that are smoking, because guess what smoking or vaping's doing? It's degenerating your lung capacity, your breathing capacity. So your exposure and the gravity of this impact is worse. So I found a real-time world tracker that you could look at anywhere in the world and zero in on it in your city or country, or if you have a loved one in Australia or somewhere. And it's at arcgis.com. Hopefully you could just look that up. And I've been screenshotting it every day to see what's the increase in a day of fatalities or of more effective. They call it active or recovered or deaths is how they're looking at it. So the fatality rate of this coronavirus is still at about 2%. Again, with millions infected, that number is high for the death toll, but think of it as millions, so it is a proportion. So depending on your age, we have experienced viruses throughout the decades to this magnitude before. We had SARS in 2002, we had MERS in 2012, and decades before. As I said, there were measles. There was common colds that caused deaths and wiped people out because they didn't have enough awareness and they weren't prepared. So this virus cannot be affected by antibiotics. Only bacterias are affected by antibiotics. This is a virus. And researching it. So basically, they say the shape of it has little spikes all around it, and it's enveloped in a bubble of oily lipid molecules. It says it falls apart on contact with soap. Do you hear that good news? Falls apart on contact with soap. So wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. So whenever you're at work or in the public or interacting with anyone other than yourself that has been in contact with the public, you know, if you're a barista, go get a coffee at Starbucks, at the coffee shop. It's like, use your hand sanitizers or wash your hands for 20 seconds. And then they say to dry your hands completely. And I tell you what I do since I've been at the school. I take the soap, I'm washing my hands. It says it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold water, so that's not even a factor, so it's not going to dry out your skin. And I count to 20 or even 30 if you want. They say do the happy birthday song, or someone I saw online, they have all these songs that are the amount of time you should be washing your hands to. So if you want to do that, look it up. But anyways, so to do that and then dry your hands, and I take the paper towels, the disposable paper towels, make sure my hands are totally dry, and then I open the door from the bathroom and then throw it in the trash, which is right next to the bathroom. So if it's your home or business and it's a similar thing, put the trash can by the door so that people could use that paper towel you just dried your hands with to open the door, because door handles and all those things can hold these viruses, and you don't want that. So anyways, and then throw it out. Also, to use the hand sanitizer, my daughter is working with Shipt. She's like, should I be afraid of this or packages? And I'm seeing lots of articles with that. It's like if you are delivering something or receiving a package from Amazon or any of that stuff, it's just, this is what you need to do. Wash your hands with soap or use a hand sanitizer, and do not touch your face, period. This virus is spread through coughing, sneezing, and it's recommended that you stay 6 feet away from people who may appear sick. So this is challenging in places like Austin, where we're wondering, what is the difference from allergies, flus, colds, or this coronavirus? So I'll tell you some of the differences. With allergies, you have itchy eyes, stuffy nose, and sneezing. So yes, that's one of the corona symptoms, but it comes with those other ones. And you pretty much know if you have allergies and things. If you're sneezing a lot and people are freaked out in your area, wear a mask. They say if you feel like you might be contagious, wear a mask. If you're not contagious, don't wear a mask. They don't want all these masks to go out of stock because people are fearful. So, the virus enters the body through the nose, the mouth, and the eyes. This is why we are not going to touch our face unless we just washed our hands with soap or we used a hand sanitizer. Then you can, move the hair off your cheek, or you can whatever you're doing. If you're going to sneeze or cough, do the vampire sneeze in the elbow and then sanitize your elbow. It's like just clean this stuff off. So I've read that it's believed this virus originated in bats. Does that really matter unless we're one of the scientists trying to create an antidote? I don't know, but it interests some people. It says the virus's genome is less than 30,000 genetic letters long. Our human body has over 3 billion. Again, this might matter to someone. It says the infected cells read the RNA and begins making proteins that will keep the immune system at bay and help assemble new copies of the virus. Researchers are testing antiviral drugs that might disrupt the viral proteins and stop the infections. So the symptoms are a fever. Now, I'm going to say a couple things from a holistic approach. When you have a fever, do not take aspirin right away. The body instinctively gets a fever when there is a virus or a bacteria in it. The fever heats up, and it is created because you have an increase of white blood cells, that is going there. Those are your soldiers in your body that are fighting these bacteria and viruses. So you don't want to take the fever away immediately before it has a chance to kill everything that it wants to. But mind you, stay hydrated and lie in a tepid bath if you have to, just to keep your body temperature. You don't want to get to a point where it's like over 104 or you're delirious or dehydrated, because then you need to be hospitalized. So at that point, you may want to take an aspirin or whatever you take naturally to minimize that. But just know that your body is trying to fight this. So, severe cases, the immune system can overreact and start attacking lung cells. The lungs become obstructed with fluid and dying cells, making it more difficult to breathe. So, the three primary symptoms of the coronavirus is a fever, a shortness of breath, because this is what's happening, that your immune system, your white blood cells are attacking the lungs, and you're starting to get fluids in there and the dying cells, and it's causing more congestion. So, and a dry cough. So those are the three big things for the corona, where a regular flu, and if you're in doubt, go to the doctor. If you have a fever, which a regular flu will have a fever, and we are in times because our temperature is changing outside, a regular fever is fever, body aches, fatigue, cough, headaches, things like that. But if you start to feel that contraction in your chest, in your lungs, with a dry cough and a fever, either way, and if there's any history of travel or contact or exposure with the public or someone that could have come from any of these areas that are quarantined. I mean, even in the U.S., California's getting a lot, and we know Washington State is getting a lot. New York is quarantined like through New Rochelle, and it's going to just keep increasing. So don't be fearful, be prepared. So, continuing this, it says a small percent of infection could lead to acute respiratory distress and possible death. So coughing and sneezing droplets onto nearby people and surfaces can remain active several hours to several days. So infected people wearing a mask, cover your nose and mouth, and please stay home. Stay away. It's not, I gotta work, I need the money, because that's being unconscious. That's forcing some people that may not be so strong or healthy to get this. And I don't know what to say. So keep washing your hands. So how to prepare? You're gonna wash your hands. Like I said, cold or hot water doesn't really matter. It's more about the 20 seconds or longer. Sing your happy birthday to someone, to yourself. You could use a hand sanitizer. If they're out of the hand sanitizer, you can make your own, but it has to have a minimum of 60% or higher alcohol. I saw some things online that they're telling you could do it without alcohol. That's not true. Alcohol in your cleaning products and for your hand sanitizers is one of the main factors that helps to get rid of the virus, to stunt its production and to kill it. So your own hand sanitizer is 60% or higher of alcohol, aloe vera gel, so that becomes the carrier. Glycerin is optional. That's usually a stabilizer for the product, but the alcohol will preserve it too, to a point. And essential oils. So the essential oils, so any of you that know Young Living, I'm not a fan of multi-level marketing, so I am not telling you to order this from Young Living because it's overpriced. But they had one called Thieves, and they talk about through the plague, everyone wore thieves and they lived through it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll tell you some of the oils that are highly antiviral, and that is clove, cinnamon, and the family of eucalyptus, ravensara, tea tree, nioli, not neroli, nioli. Those are all in the same family, and those are all disinfectant, antiviral, antimicrobial, and then some type of citrus in that. So you could diffuse these in your home. You could bring them in your purse or your wallet or your car and just smell them throughout the day. Like every couple hours, just take a hit of them and make your own mixture. Or this is in your hand sanitizer. And using a citrus like lemon, orange, or grapefruit. So that does two different things. Again, that's a type of disinfectant. Sorry about that. As well as that, we gotta love those dogs. A type of disinfectant, as well as it makes you happy. It's like good for making you happy. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so now, as I said, after touching packages or objects or door handles, public door handles, toilets, pens, writing utensils, light switches, remote controls, tables, chairs, anything that the public is in contact with, or anyone but you that may have been exposed to someone that could have been exposed, use these disinfectants. So they're saying that any EPA registered disinfectants, such as Pine Sol, my favorite, bleach, and to disinfect your home and common areas, they're saying to use 70% or higher alcohol. And off to the side, if you don't know this, and I learned this the hard way when I was younger, never mix bleach and ammonia together. That combination is highly toxic, and never do that. Use them separately. So clean all common surfaces. Use disposable gloves if you have them, and then you pull them off onto themselves, any of you that know State Board, and then you throw them in the trash. If you only have the regular Playtex gloves, then again, soak them in a solution for 10 minutes and then rinse them off and let them hang dry. Okay, so this cleaning these surfaces, it's not going to kill all the virus, yet it's going to lessen their production and prevent the spread. Now, as I said, for your preparation, remove your alcohol, your sugars, your processed foods, dairies. Begin taking high amounts of vitamin C. So I got like the 1,000 milligrams, and you just take one at a time. And for children, you could do the chewable ones, and you could just take that throughout the day every couple of hours. Now, if you take it with bioflavonoids or buffered, those two terms, then you won't have an issue with it causing gas and bloating in your stomach. But the thing about vitamin C is it's water soluble, so you can't take too much. You know it's too much when you start to have the runs or a blowout. And even then, it's getting rid of toxins. So step back a little bit when it's too much of a blowout, but get rid of some of those things. Some of the toxins in your body. Also, take electrolytes. So have those on hand when you get this flu. Chicken soup always works. Make it from a whole chicken. I just did that last week. That's the authentic Jewish way, and it's better for the immune system, as well as it has way more yummy chicken to eat, so it's heartier. Buy citrus, get your mandarins, your oranges, lemons, put lemon in your water. Stay hydrated. It is imperative that you stay hydrated. Keep moving, exercising, do jump squats, do crunches, do whatever you have at home. If you go to the gym like I do, again, don't touch your face while you're there. I wear gloves, and remember to, bring a hand sanitizer so that you don't touch your face, because who knows what's happening at the gym, but that's another thing, or any public place that has exercise. And then just wash your hands or use your hand sanitizer, and then you're fine again. So please see your doctor if you have a fever or you're sneezing or a cough. Don't be selfish or stupid. Be wise and prepared. Now, it says, another thing, the difference from like a cold or flu versus the coronavirus is when you're exposed to someone with a cold or flu, you'll usually catch it within 3 days. The interesting thing about the coronavirus is it takes a minimum of 5 to 14 days, a minimum of closer to 5 days for symptoms to appear, up to 14 days. So think back to 14 days ago. If you wake up with a fever and you're coughing, and try to see, where was I in public? Like if you were at a restaurant or somewhere, you have no idea if someone was just, in Italy or in China or who knows. So avoid any unnecessary travel. I actually have a workshop planned, and depending on how the planet is, the end of June, I may not be going to Maui, because it's not just what's happening in the place you're going to, it's anyone on the plane. Like, where were they at? Because you're in this little, like, cylinder. Like, I've always not liked flying before this. I always bring my lavender and my eucalyptus in my 2 milliliter bottles, because I just take a hit every couple of hours in case someone is sick on the plane. I don't want to get what's sick. So, yeah. Now, the plus is focus if you start tracking this and looking at articles on the recovery time. So if you go to the doctor or you're feeling something's happening, you're going to be quarantined for the 14 days and then retested until you test negative so that you're not contagious. So the recovery time is about 14 days for this flu to pass. Now, stock up on books. You could stream movies. You could journal your thoughts. FaceTime chats with friends help pass this time, so you keep your connection going. And the final words of, another thing for internal preparations, 50 milligrams of zinc. This is not only good for allergies, but you have to take it with food every day. That boosts your immune system. That's another thing you could be taking internally right now. So final words of encouragement is, if you're reading a lot about this virus, focus more on the recovery statistics and not on the deaths, because you can't stay in fear. Fear and panic will lessen. It will deplete your immune system. You need to stay happy and positive. So watch some comedies and do some fun things and hang out with people you love. But if you have any of these compromise things, they're telling you to avoid groups, especially if it's inside. They're canceling any groups that are indoors of 250 people or more. If it's an outdoor event, it should be fine. Again, don't touch your face. Keep hand sanitizer in your pocket, and that's all I'm saying. So the other workshop I'm offering is in-house in South Austin. I only take 4 to 6 people for this. It's a 4-week workshop. We're doing it Thursday nights. It's the end of March, from 7 to 9 at night, and I'm going to educate you, and we're going to do a 30-day detox. Now, I always charge $300 plus charge you for supplements, which are the 30 days to help you cleanse and detox more and strengthen you, which now is the time more than ever that we actually need this. I'm doing a special where it's including the supplements in that $300. And we're going to detox the body. We're going to do this together, and I will serve soup on those nights while I'm lecturing, and we're doing meditations and journaling, and we're going to share, and it's like group therapy and process, and we're going to do all kinds of interactive exercises, and then we're going to do mental detox and emotional detox and processing the past and so many things. And if you look on my website, I do that one-on-one at any point as long as I have time, and it will be a 1.5 to 2 hour FaceTime or Messenger or Skype for 4 weeks in a row, and that's $500. And if you're in the healing arts and need a certification, we could specialize whatever area you need more help, or you could do it when I have these groups. I don't know. I probably won't do this group again until the end of September. So this is it. If you're interested, contact me. So my website to check out more is spaluna.com, and look under workshops and cleanse or certification. If you want to email me, it's samana@spaluna.com, or my phone you could call or text 808-283-7587. And again, think about that relationship workshop on the 21st and 22nd. I cannot wait for that. So we do have an early bird special on that. I don't know if I already said this. So normally that's $300. But we are doing, if you pay by March 15th, we're doing $220 a person or two people. I don't care if you're a couple or friends or mother-daughter or whatever. 2 for $400. And again, that's with myself and David Garrison. Thank you for your time. Any questions or comments, please contact me, and stay strong, stay informed. When you get fearful, stop reading stuff and do something you love. Sing, play your ukulele, and call up a friend or go have coffee and use your hand sanitizer. Blessings.